them so that together we will support, well in short, everything that you know. And it's an action on my behalf, but there also has to be an action on behalf of the entire 10 on each and every friend in their turning to the Creator, praying the Creator. What is there in the action of the 10? Prayer, the prayer of the many, the prayer so that if one person prays it's not, but it's only through integration. If everyone together prays, if they ask well, as much as each one can, then all together. This is what has an influence. This leaves an impression. So read 19 again. 19 writes, under a shadow I coveted to sit, and its fruit was sweet to my palate. In other words, he says that all the concealments and afflictions he feels are because the Creator has sent him these states so that he would have a place for work above reason. And when one has the strength to say this, mean that the Creator causes him all this, it is to one's benefit. This means that through this he can come to work in order to bestow, and not for his own sake. At that time one realizes, meaning believes, that the Creator enjoys specifically this work, which is built entirely on above reason. It follows that at that time one does not pray to the Creator that the shadows will flee from the world. Rather he says, I see that the Creator wants me to serve him in this manner, entirely above reason. Thus, in everything he does, he says, the Creator certainly enjoys this work. So why should I care if I'm working in a state of concealment of the face? That's one. The most important is the prayer. That is, one must pray to the Creator to help him go above reason, meaning that the work should be with gladness, as though he has already been rewarded with the reason of holiness, and what joy he would feel then. Likewise, he should ask the Creator to give him this power so he can go above the reason of the body. In other words, although the body does not agree to this work in order to bestow, he asks the Creator to be able to work with gladness as is suitable for one who serves a great king. He does not ask the Creator to show the greatness of the Creator and then he will work gladly. Rather, he wants the Creator to give him joy in the work of above reason, that it will be as important to a person as if he already has reason. Shalom. Hello dear friends. We all want to reach the connection between us and work for the Creator joyfully and achieve the quality of bestow. When we connect, we begin to realize that it's very difficult. We don't have this force. We don't have such strength at all. And in our world, we're used to wanting to do something and not succeeding. So we stop. We become frustrated. And here, when we try to connect and can't, we cannot achieve the quality of bestow. Here we actually have to ask for joy to work where we have no strength to work. That's the true prayer, to ask the Creator for the forces to do this even though we have no strength for it. We need to radiate this outwards and continue together and go ever higher. Continue to an active workshop. Let us share the joy that is in our hearts for being given the opportunity to be servants of the Creator. Let us share the joy that is in our hearts for being given the opportunity to be servants of the Creator. Yes, we have great joy and privilege that we are here and that we're studying, that each one has a great desire for spirituality, that it gives us the strength to work above reason, to exert, to work in connection, and all of that creates joy, that the work itself brings joy. We just have to relate everything to the Creator and want to be the workers of the Creator, and that's huge joy. Yes, it's truly joyful that we have an opportunity to now start the work from zero, regardless of what was before. And that's the nice thing about the wisdom of Kabbalah. We can always turn a new page and to start the spiritual work with all our might. Connect with connection between us, and every morning we have this opportunity in the morning lesson. So let's enter it joyfully. Nothing greater than being the work of the Creator. And so we're very happy and we're very, very excited about that, and we want to realize it now during the lesson between us. We have been awarded with being on the path of truth, the path of balsam, which leads to redemption. There's nothing more grand. Serving and connecting to the friends, opening this channel for the rest of humanity. Yes, we are joyful in that we are the first of billions that received, basically, the freedom of choice. Every second we have an opportunity to bring contentment to the Creator, to all humanity, to the friends, through our prayer and work. Yes, it's a Jewish thing that we can do, spiritual work that we have the opportunity to be amongst friends and engage in the wisdom of truth and to ask the Creator that we will always be in joy above reason. Yes, if we are connected, then we are happy that we have an opportunity to bring joy to the Creator and being the Creator, the servants of the Creator, and filling up that clee with joy and love. And we have to connect, and that brings the joy. Chapter 100, Psalm, for giving grateful praise. Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Worship the Lord with gladness. Come before him with joyful songs. Know that the Lord is God. It is he who made us, and we are his people. He's the sheep of his pasture. Enter his gates with thanksgiving and his courts with praise. Give thanks to him and praise his name, for the Lord is good and his love endures forever. His faithfulness continues through all generations. Hello friends, in the first part of the lesson, we will watch 2 lessons on the topic of faith above reason. We will read selected sources. We'll start from a lesson from November 17th, 2020 and we'll start from items 21. Hello, our topic in this part of the lesson is work in faith above reason. We're going to continue on excerpt 21. Love, please. I'm looking at the screen now. Why don't you show it? See, New York 1, New York 2, USA, Northeast, California, New York 3, New York 4, Florida, USA, Midwest, Queens, Toronto 2, Caribou 2, Toronto 1, Toronto 2. Where have they been? Where have they always been? There's some sort of a harmdoer inside of me here who is sitting on the computers and isn't letting us see all those groups. Now I see that all of North America is here with us. Well, let's hope it stays this way. Very well. So, 21. You read it first and then we'll see. It says, sometime one despises this work of assuming the burden of the kingdom of heaven, which is a time of a sensation of darkness, when one sees that no one can save him from the state he is in but the Creator. Then he takes upon himself the kingdom of heaven above reason, as an ox to the burden and as a donkey to the load. One should be glad that now he has something to give to the Creator, and the Creator enjoys him having something to give to the Creator. But one does not always have the strength to say that this is beautiful work called adornment. But he despises this work. This is a harsh condition for one to be able to say that he chooses this work over the work of whiteness, meaning that he does not sense the taste of darkness during the work, but then one feels a taste in the work. It means that then he does not have to work with the will to receive, to agree, to take upon himself the kingdom of heaven above reason. If he does overcome himself and can say that this work is pleasant to him, that now he is observing the mitzvah of faith above reason, and he accepts this work as beauty and adornment. This is called a joy of mitzvah. So the most important thing is for us to be in joy in whatever situation we are in, because we have an opportunity to do something for the Creator. Then it's called a mitzvah, a good deed or a commandment, and the more difficult the situation is and doesn't feel in our vessels like a good situation, nice, the better it is. It's better because I'm not drawn to the act through egoistic forces, but against my ego, and then the act is truly called an act of mitzvah, a commandment. Why? Because it comes from the word to command. It's an imperative, coming from the Creator to go toward him, and above my ego, despite my ego. So, the joy of mitzvah means I'm happy that I have something I can do against my will to receive, not in big things, in something small, every time more and more each time, toward connection, not toward anything else. Connection and the lesson. This is all I need. These are the 2 means that I need to have in order to advance toward the Creator. If I did this, if I did both each day, I did my bit for the day wasn't wasted, didn't go by in vain. This is how I should accept life. And then you'll see that you're getting benefit from life and a special results from life truly. And we must always remember that revealing the Creator comes from a state called dust. It's written, because from dust you are, and to dust you will return. We keep falling into a state of dust where we don't care and don't want to, and there's no point to it, and just leave me, etc. All these things. We fall. There's nothing you can do. We have no power, no desire, no inclination, nothing. And from the dust we have to help each other. We can't rise by ourselves. So precisely when others give me an example and awaken me, then this arising from the dust, this rising, will be the correct rising, not with my ego. If I look at a friend and the friend helps me, and then I help the friend and others, it is not done by my ego. It is done by working in society. So here you have the forces of connection at work, and that's how we aim to do our activities only in this way, and then they will be spiritual activities. Okay, and all the study of the work above. Reason, there's always two layers what my Walter receive feels, and above it I need to have like a higher degree. Yes, and as you explained, sometimes a person is in a state of the dust where he finds no forces, and the only way to grasp anything higher than what he feels, and his desires only the 10. It's not sometimes I can never find in me the strength to advance. It seems to me I'm being confused. The will to receive confuses me. It says try, you can do it. And in our world it's accepted that I will do it. In spirituality it isn't. Only through the powers of the group. They help each other. Only by this can we rise. Otherwise it's not an ascent. It is a lie. Yes, so it turns out that there's two layers. The lower one, the lowly one, is me. Where higher is only the friends, only the 10. Yes, correct. And only through them can I rise. And that's how we all elevate each other, like mountain climbers. Yep, that's the way it is. Yuck, there's a question about it. Great. New York 3. We look at what Rush writes in his articles about the group that I cancel myself before the 10. I try to feel myself the least among them, and as a result I get from them the strength of the powers, and with the powers I receive from them I see how I can give to them, and I do the opposite action. Look what's happening here. When I submit myself before the group I get the upper force through the group. When I submit myself, the upper force influences me. I get an awakening. First of all, this upper force goes through the group, so I'm already included in them, as the lowest among them. Afterwards, I want to bestow upon them, so I rise above myself and give to them with the power I received through them. In other words, now, for the Creator I give to them, so first I received from them, as now I give to them as kettle. And this is how we work, like a piston, and kettle and Florida. Sometimes I come to the lesson in such a state that I am completely indifferent. But when the lesson starts, and I wake up so much that I forget about that indifference, and I'm included in the friends, can I say it's a force of the 10? It is the Creator operating on you through the 10. Yeah. Bulgaria speaks about it in the articles, is to subdue yourself, to lower yourself before the friends. Can you recommend exercises that we can do in the 10, and seeing ourselves small, try to look at the 10 and see behind the friends what they are doing, and to try to see in what they're doing how much they want to bestow upon the 10, how much they're giving me the right example. Try it and you'll see how it happens. And after it happens, or after you try to do this, whether it succeeds or not, then you'll know that it's the Creator doing working on you. Say you found friends who are working correctly. The Creator gave you an example. You didn't find the friends who are doing the right things. That too is the Creator doing to you, working on you. So draw your conclusions from this and try to change. PT 24. This thing about the shaft. You said that we one time. We work above reason, that the friends are above me and they're great, and I get the forces to rise through them, and then the friends go down below me and I bestow to them. Yes, of course. How can I give them if I'm not the greatest? Everyone should be both greatest and smallest. And that way you have an engine, and in this engine you have 10 pistons. Just imagine what kind of an engine it is. Like that. Everyone working, and everyone are working in order to fill up our tank with air. It's like a compressor. So we fill it up and fill it up and fill it up. And then when we come to a state, that's called the quota the Creator is revealed inside of it. So that's how we work, what according to states that we are going through, supposedly. Yes, but you have to see every state correctly. What does it mean correctly? correctly in that both in the ascent and in the descent as said that he had 200 ups and downs in 5 minutes. You understand that's the way it is. Spain 2. All right. Spain 2. What's the importance in feeling the taste and the concealment? We can't feel any taste if it's not in concealment, only out of concealment. This is why the wisdom of Kabbalah is called the wisdom of the hidden. Because what we reveal out of the concealment. Why? Because the advantage of the light is from within, the darkness. If you have no concealment, you cannot have revelation, no revealing. You understand, it has to be this way because we are built created out of 2 forces. Force of reception, force of bestowal. To the extent that we turn our reception into a force of bestowal, we discover the Creator according to the equivalence of form. Think about these words. You'll see what's in them. Ah, right. Key of 1. The example you gave, that I'm included in the friend's light. What's that same force that I get from this integration? One time you are immersed in the group. You absorb from them their desires. And next time you lift it up to the Creator and you get from there. For this ascent, this is called man. When you're asking for everyone, you get from their energy. With this energy, you come down to them. You give it to them, so to speak. You again absorb from them new desires. You raise it up to again, and that way. You keep going up and down, up and down. That's how the piston works, each and every one of us. What does it mean that I raise the mutual desire? You raise it up to the Creator. What does it mean that I bring it back down? You bring the mud once you received it from the Creator for 2. For everyone you give it to them, and likewise each one in the group. And what does it expect to express? Is it something emotional? When you share their pain, their desire, and it will lift them to the Creator, bring them closer to the Creator. You get from the Creator at that time a gift, powers, feelings, revelations, and you give it to them. You're working like a conduit in both directions, meaning the same upper point is where I need to make some summary of my desires. You want to lift all the friends, the whole group to the Creator, and that's the second stage of the request. It's just words. There's no point, because in a few minutes you'll forget the words. You won't have the same feeling and it'll disappear work, and bit by bit you know what the intellect, what the mind doesn't do, time does, and gradually you'll get more discernment. And then we'll talk Latin too. Question from the tennis: why is it written that the Creator punishes the bodies if the body is what reaches the unification, the gathering? He means the expression that the Creator hates the bodies. Yeah, the Creator hates the bodies means that the Creator hates, meaning he's opposite from the will to receive for oneself. But if the will to receive is corrected, to work in order to bestow, then that will to receive unites with the Creator, and the Creator is revealed in that will to receive according to their equivalence, a form, and then it turns out that the will to receive wasn't created opposite from the Creator for no reason. It rather brings out its oppositeness in order to reveal the Creator 620 times more. So you understand what happens. The Creator created the will to receive, and the will to receive, when it works on itself in order to invert itself to be similar to the Creator, when it excites the Creator, reveals the Creator to all of creation. When I raise a request of the Creator, that my friends will be with me in the lesson every morning, does that mean that I'm raising their deficiency even though they don't have it? Yes. Do you need to do that with your 10? And in truth, with all of humanity. With all of humanity. Think about that too. And you want to include in your plea to the Creator in your correction. You want to include all of humanity too. And then you will truly be fulfilling yourself, realizing yourself completely. We have to think about that too. The time for this is coming very quickly. Latin 6. The feeling of lack of livelihood or greatness of the goal and the 10. How can you connect all that? It's very simple. Lack of vitality is because I'm measuring everything with my ego, and the greatness of the goal, greatness of the Creator, greatness of the group, I measure it with my desire to bestow, with my yearning to rise. I have 2 points. One is connected to this world, the egoistic one, and the other is connected to the point in the heart, to the Creator. That's why I always have 2 states. that are opposite, and I have to try to work in both. Number 22 Ash says, we must know that it is a lot of work before we attain the quality of beginner. That is to be content with little with his feeling in his mind, and to be happy with his share with what he has. That person can always be in wholeness, because he is happy with his share. But what can one do if he has not yet obtained this quality, and he sees that he cannot overcome his will to receive? At that time he must pray to the Creator to help him, so he can go in the work with his eyes shut, and will not need anything, and will be able to do everything for the sake of the Creator despite the resistance of the body to this. That is, he does not tell the Creator how he should help him. Rather he must subjugate himself to kneel before the Creator unconditionally. But since he cannot overcome his body, he asks the Creator to help him win the war against the inclination. USA. Okay, first we will ask USA Northeast. Hello Rob. Hello world. Our question for a friend. You feel the of the 10. Pray to the Creator and then you get mad. You give mad to the 10. What is giving mad to the 10? That the awakening you got from the Creator, you add it to the awakening of the group to pass it to the friends. You don't give them exactly the knowledge, because it's corrupted. It went through you, but it's the light you get from above. Greatness of the Creator, the greatness of spirituality, eternality that we have. The business with the eternal world that there aren't all the discernments of this world that come and change and disappear. It's something that is worth infinite, and in the light of in the form which is above time, space, motion. That is what we need to pass to the friends. That's what's in the mud. That's in the mud. The divine part from above. In short, that's it. What are we passing through? What are we receiving from above? A bit of the Creator and passing it to the friends. It's something wonderful. Look how we can really, such gifts we have to bring to society. Latin. Okay, Latin 3. To ask for the friends to include myself in the prayer. Is that a condition for the Creator? Again, what did he ask? Repeat please. Ask again please. Ask for the friends, and include myself in there in the prayer to the Creator. For asking for the friends, is that a condition for the Creator? Love, look, there's a lot of things here. We'll learn it soon. We'll have time. That when we learn about the raising of the prayer, the answering of the prayer, all that. The thing is, as much as we can or I can, include myself in receiving the light, and passing it through to the extent that I'm included in the 10. If I'm included there, my eye is annulled there in the 10, and I can pass it to the entire 10. I draw the light, but I draw it when integrating with them, and then I don't harm the upper light, and I can pass it through in a way that is correct to the friends. That's why annulment towards the 10 is a must. Otherwise, I'll pass the whole message through my ego. PT 26. My question is what's good and bad towards the Creator? What is good or bad towards the Creator? Towards the Creator. Good and bad is either bestowing or receiving. No more. If my actions are reception, it's bad. If they're in order to bestow to the others, it's good, and not to the Creator. I can't bestow to the Creator. I can only bestow to the created beings. That's it. That, if you're right, what can you give him? The Creator isn't a vessel of reception. He's just a source of bestow. PT 20. When the mud goes through me to the friends, my ego ruins it. Incorrect. If it's man and mud, the true kind, so it can be that you ruin them because it comes from your integrating in the 10 before your action, before every action or raising a deficiency or receiving from the Creator and bringing to the 10. You have to integrate in the 10. That's why you can't ruin it. Not their desire what you give to the Creator, and not the light that you get from the Creator in order to pass to them. If you are included in the 10, you are pure. Thank you. PT 35. Good morning. What does it mean to shut your eyes, and in what state should we do that? Usually shutting your eyes means going in faith above reason. That's it. That is the action. Faith above reason meaning bestow above the force of reception that is revealed every time. There's nothing else in our reality but two actions, receiving and bestowing. If I make bestowing more important than reception, so also my reception, that is Under the control of bestowing, it gets a form of bestow, and I work with it to receive in order to bestow. That's how it is. Cheer. Good morning. Let's say that in the 10, we see that there's no grasp in anything we were speaking about now. In working towards the friends, and no, don't say there isn't good. We don't have any grasp in spirituality. Let us try like children, playing. Let's, as if we're doing right actions. Let's perform such actions. What does it mean? Let's integrate together. Let's try as much as we can to integrate together that we want to reach one desire. Where's the center of bestow between us? Where do we take this mutual desire from connecting together between us and this mutual desire? We can raise that to the Creator. Just like that. What does it mean to bestow contentment by connecting? Show the Creator how we connected for Him. Right, that's it. That's what we did for you. Take it. Correct us. If we correct it if we connected incorrectly, do something for us to succeed. We want to connect only for you. That's it. We also want even more than that. We want you to be revealed in the connection between us and enjoy it. That we want to build a home for you. From our desires called the temple beater, Mikdash, the general vessel of bees, still made from our desires. And that's how you start. Try and speak like that. Reach that. Exactly what I wanted to ask. Start working so, as it's written, He wouldn't be as a foreign God. The Creator shouldn't be distant, foreign, and bring Him closer to the center of the group. Connect between you and together with Him, and don't let Him run away. Thank you. PT 29. How does a person know that his annulment is correct? When he loses it in the tent, and then feels that somehow he's got a feeling of the Creator somewhat. Somehow it comes as a kind of new perception of reality. You said now that if man is included in the 10, he's pure. He can't make a mistake, not with a desire. You raised the man and the mud that you passed to the friends. Are there any criterion to understand whether you were able to integrate the gabe, the shots? If you're connected, then you feel you are connected because you have a connection with them, and with the Creator you already have something. The reaction you to the right connection, you feel it because you become the conduit. It passes through you like a conductor. Love. Sometimes it's very difficult. No. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to. Someone this, someone that. If you're like that, you're not a 10. A 10 means you're all connected, or at least know that you have to connect and are yearning for connection. But if someone want this and someone with that, it's not a 10. It's not a 10. I don't even talk about that. Do whatever you want. Moscow 6. What is the sign that the Creator is enjoying? I can't hear what you're saying. Where's your microphone? Can you hear me? Yeah, a little better. How do we know that the Creator is enjoying? Is that when we enjoy the connection? If we feel that we are connecting more than before, and we have to say that the Creator too enjoys, although perhaps the connection between us is still not strong enough for Him to be revealed in the connection. Yeah, and we are moving to info. And again, I'm saying thank you very much to the groups in America who prepared such questions for us yesterday that we dedicated the whole morning lesson to the questions. And let's hope that it will help them work correctly and achieve life's purpose. And we wish you a good time, a good period. Info. We are going to continue to the second lesson from October 23rd, 2020. Work with faith above reason. We will be continuing with on excerpt number 61. We are in a lesson on the topic of work above reason. We will read selected exits from the sources. Continuing with exit number 61. You can send us questions, and selected questions will be asked during the lesson. Yes, let's continue. We had introductions enough in the first part of the lesson, please. Okay, so reading excerpt 61 from Balasam Shamarti 40. What is the measure of faith in the Raf? When one is engaging in the right, the time is right to extend the upper abundance. The right means that he devotes himself completely to the Creator through the group, because the blessed adheres to the blessed. In other words, since one is in a state of completeness called blessed in that respect, one presently has equivalence of form since the sign of completeness is if one is in gladness, otherwise there is no completeness. It is as our sages just said, the divinity is present only out of gladness of a mitzvah commandment. The meaning is that the reason that it brings him joy is the mitzvah, meaning the fact that the Rav has commanded him to take the right line. It follows that he keeps the commandment of the Rav that he was allotted a special time to walk on the right and a special time to walk on the left. The left contradicts the right, since left means when one calculates for oneself and begins to examine what he has already acquired in the work of the Creator, and he sees that he is poor and indigent. Thus, how can he be in wholeness? Nevertheless, one goes above reason. Because of the commandment of the root, it follows that his entire wholeness was built on above reason, and this is called faith. We need to accept this single condition above everyone. Whatever happens, there's only a single force doing it, the upper force. And so it's not that I acted incorrectly, or that now I'm ungood, or it's not that I failed or succeeded, and it's not that I can blame myself or others. Above everything, it's the Creator who manipulates, who does all those things, and so I accept whatever happens, every single moment, as coming from Him alone. There's none else besides Him, and so all of our work is only to establish this rule that there's none else besides Him, where whatever I feel now, whatever I receive, decide, think, it all comes from Him alone. Again, reading excerpt 61 again. When one engages in the right, the time is right to extend the upper abundance, because the blessed adheres to the blessed. In other words, since one is in a state of completeness, called blessed, in that respect, one presently has equivalence of form. Since the sign of wholeness is if one is in gladness, otherwise there is no wholeness. It is as sages just said, that is present only out of gladness of the mitzvah. This means that the reason that brings him joy is the mitzvah, meaning the fact that the Rav has commanded him to take the right line. It follows that he keeps the commandment of the Rav, since that he was allotted a special time to walk on the right and a special time to walk on the left. The left contradicts the right, since left means when one calculates for oneself and begins to examine what he has already acquired in the work of the Creator, and he sees that he is poor and indigent. Thus, how can he be in wholeness? Still, one goes above reason because of the commandment of the Rab. It follows that all his wholeness was built on above reason, and this is called faith. Not simple. There are many internal contradictions here in each one of us. That this is how we need to establish ourselves nonetheless. But we shouldn't think that we will be in a state after that I don't care about anything. It all comes from the Creator anyway. No, I need to rise above my reason, and that is then the spiritual height I've achieved. And then when I'm in two states, a state and its opposite, then it means that I grab hold of a certain spiritual degree. Hebrew 10. What does it mean to walk on the left line? Criticism, critical examination. Earlier we said that walking on the right line means that he devotes himself entirely through the group to the Creator to bestow. Correct. We need to be in that as much as possible, and we speak of this a lot. They are friends that part of their devotion to the group and to the path is through criticism. This is how they express their criticism over who. It could be over the 10. If it's about the 10, then it's not right. How can they know what the 10 is? They need to accept it as a thing which is whole, and then they need to have criticism over themselves, meaning to what extent can they see it as whole or not, and if they ascribe they affiliate with that wholeness or not. If it's criticism over the 10, it's not the right approach. If the Creator places one's hand on the good fate and tells him take this for yourself, then the person has to accept the 10 as a thing which is whole and to adapt himself to the 10 and not to whatever however he perceives the 10. That is 100% clear. But if the criticism is regarding certain behaviours of the friends, also then he should scrutinise it with them. Why does he think so? Why does he see what he sees? It's only if he sees a person who is actually harmful, breaking the 10 apart, the connection in the 10. But it's not that he can just conduct criticism. First of all, it's not even good for me. I need to constantly see them as great as possible really. See what Abash writes about the 10:19. Says the work has to be in wholeness. Otherwise there's no wholeness there is. It says the divinity dwells only out of gladness. What is the gladness you're talking about? Gladness from being attached to the friends, trying to be adhered to the Creator, and trying to reach a state of the issue are one, me the 10 and the Creator together, even though I hear things that I don't like and I can't be happy about them. Even more so because of these disruptions, you strengthen your connection with the 10, with the Creator, through gladness. Of course joy, of course gladness, because you have disruptions which the Creator gives you deliberately for you to grow stronger in your connection with them. Of course, this brings gladness as big as the disruptions are. You see them as an aid against oneself. Yes, but I can't really, I mean especially yesterday really I was sad. I was upset. Here, do I need to be in gladness? I mean when I hear what you're saying, the group is this way, the group is that way, and you know you become all depressed. I mean I become saddened. How can I be glad in such a situation? Well, you're not. We can discuss you. I'm talking generally, the whole 10 was like this. In generally, the 10. I'm telling you in a very clear way, that you have no way of reaching the goal if you want to reach it, but for connecting with a group and the Creator as one, that's the direction. So this should be my intention. What you're saying now, the intention is to achieve unity, the unity of these three things, and you can tell me whatever you want. That is the rule, the law, and if you don't want it, then you will be brought there through blows from the left, from the right, each time a kick from behind, and then you will reach it. So I should engage in the right with gladness, yes, not only in the right, if you're always in the right, so you can't really advance. You need them both on, and through that on the middle line. Unity. Thank you. I have a question of a friend. How should I aim my heart so that my ego would become a means for the advancement of the friends in the tent? You have to want it to happen, just like that. I want to connect with everybody, and my connecting to everybody is by pushing them ahead towards the connection between us more. That's called ahead, and with the Creator together, that's called and bestow between all of us and outside of us to all of humanity. Latin for hello Rob. We make an effort in the 10 to make the right and to have the right intention to connect, and we raise a prayer, and the result is happiness and disconnection from the matters of the 10. How can we make sure that we stay on the right track and save ourselves from harming the 10? Try and check how every day you feel the connection more and more. From every day you have to reach such a feeling that we have more connection today than yesterday, even more and more, and a tendency to it and a yearning for it. It's a feeling, and it's very difficult to speak about a feeling, like to measure it, but afterwards in the wisdom of Kabbalah, when we have definitions on degrees of ordates, the light that will fill us in and the vessels of, then we'll know how to express it better. But for now, not really, only in a feeling that still today I feel like I'm yearning more than yesterday. My heart is drawn to it more. PT 34. My measurement for progress is how much it takes me to move from right to left. No, I don't. It could be, but not specifically that as quick as they go from right to left. Well, you can say it for now. Maybe you can use that measurement. Maybe Tel Aviv 1. Hello. I tried to find the feeling, the state for my inner change, and am I even in the group? Am I making action? Question please. What am I supposed to do in order to make an inner change? To try and connect in all your heart and soul to the 10, otherwise you won't have an inner change. Only to try and do everything right about the 10. That's it. Next, and then we'll go on. So, we're going to read the excerpt. Number 62. All of the arguments that a person can be assisted by is only what is reason obligates him. However, above reason, it can all be only by overcoming the aspect of faith that the Creator can help with the aspect of above nature. And basically, we cannot receive anything above nature before a person comes to the decision that the matter cannot be within nature, and only afterwards. Then when he's in despair from his nature, then he can ask for help from above to be aided above nature. Again, all of the arguments that can aid a Person is only what is necessitated in his reason. However, above reason, everything can happen. However, overcoming in the aspect of faith is required, meaning that the Creator can help when it's above nature, and basically, one cannot perceive anything from above nature before a person comes to the decision that it cannot happen within nature, and only after he comes to despair in terms of his nature, then he can ask for help from above to be aided above nature. Okay, I see that we don't have any more questions. It's a sign that the audience is tired of this topic. Well, USA Northeast. Hello, Ralph, and thank you. The question is based on what we just read prior. When we grow the connection stronger and stronger as we are given bigger and bigger disturbances, are we moving towards the state of the greater place with the will? Repeat, please. When we grow the connection stronger and stronger as we are given bigger and bigger disturbances, are we moving towards the state of the Creator plays with the will? In our work, we are constantly getting closer to the Creator playing with the will, but the will means the entire great big will to receive that the Creator created. After we perform the corrections partially, then the big general will to receive is revealed, and then we see that attitude, its different laws. There are laws that are taking place in a differential manner in each and every part of the water to receive root 1, 2, 3, 4, and then when they all connect together, that is called that we discover the Creator's attitude relation towards that will, and that's still before us. But we are already in stages that the last stage, that's what's going to happen. Unity 3. Can the despair and overcoming happen again in the work? Everything can be one. It all depends on the environment. If we all yearn, then everyone with his own yearning bestows to the others. It all depends as much as you awaken one another. Our workshop, and we'll summarize the main points we heard in the lesson. We heard that we need the revelation of the Creator in the beginning. Ras said, we have to accept two things in life, connection and lesson, and we have to organize our whole life around that. Afterwards, he mentioned that the revelation of the Creator comes from a state of dust that we don't care and we don't want, and yet we find force and not a desire, and one shall help his friend specifically by others. Given me an example of rising above the dust. Yes, I've spoke about incorporation in the group, which is they, and a person is like the mal in the group when he's incorporated in it, and he's with the friends receiving energies, and then he bestows those powers upon them in return, which is like the keter. It keeps you switching around. It's like a piston. I'll give that example. It's when I wrote like this: when I submit myself to the group. Through the group, I receive the upper force. When I submit myself, this upper force influences me. I receive an awakening. Yes, and I was also impressed by the example of the piston. When we incorporate in the tent, then our prayer is clean. The raising of man, the reception of mad, and this mad is a part of the divine, which I then relay to the 10 from the Creator, but also the whole issue of incorporation, and how incorporation really makes the prayer always correct. Also, we heard about the issue of being in the right line most of the time, and being in wholeness. Yes, this concept of the piston, even though I wrote 4 pages, I want to open that up more, that really, I nullify myself. I try to feel myself lower, lesser than them, and then I receive strength from them. So RH spoke about how to do that. Try to see how in what the friends are doing, how much they want to bestow to the 10. Try to see in what the friends do, how much they want to bestow to the 10. And, indeed, this order of the work, we really have to acquire it. First of all, we receive force from the 10. And R said that if you don't receive strength from the 10, all you have is egoistic force. You can't. You have no knowledge to give to the 10. It's only greatness of the Creator which you receive from them, and you also raise the desires you got from them upwards to the Creator also. Yeah, many other wonderful things, and yeah, I've said in the first part, I can never find within me the powers for advancement. Appear to me that I'm in a certain way. I'm being confused or receive confuses me telling me you do this, and so on. In our world it's also acceptable. It's all also the same way, but in spirituality it's not, it's only through the group each one helps his friend only. With each other can we rise, otherwise it's not an assent, it's a lie. And then he added that when I submit to the group, I receive the upper force from the group. When I submit myself, this upper force then influences me and I receive an awakening. Yes, with respect to working towards the creator of the 2 from the 10R said, we want to build a house for you from all our desires, and that will be as the temple. Another thing about the relationship with the creator, bring the creator closer to the center of the group. Connect between you and him, with him together, and don't let him run away. Yes, there, bestow above the force of reception that appears in me. This is called going by faith above reason. We talked about joy, and in the beginning, I've also talked about joy. And my thing is that we should feel joyous because we have an opportunity to do something for the creator against our will to receive. And towards the creator means towards connection. That's the meaning of a commandment. And if it's against my ego, and it's even better because I'm performing the commandments despite my ego. I'll maybe expand on this matter of the piston. I wrote this like this. You drown in the group. You absorb their desires. You raise that to the creator. This is called money. You receive force from the creator. With that force, you go down to them as if gift to them, and you absorb a new desire from them again and raise that upwards again. Special time now together building a spiritual society. What we're going to do in our time today is actually many things. We will start from hearing together a special conversation that happened this week between Raver and the friends. It's a 22-minute conversation, very important for our spiritual development. And this conversation, also after many weeks of scrutinizing together and searching for what needs to be our focus, our spiritual focus in the time that we have from now until the big Congress in January and February. In this conversation, the precise direction was born as well. So we actually have a direction for the Congress now. We'll start from hearing the conversation. Then we'll scrutinize together what we heard. We'll share our spiritual insights based on that, and then we will write down for each 10 like a concrete kind of work. Plan for each 10 from now until the Congress. This will be the first part of our session. After that, we will hear an update from and Duddy about our developments in dissemination and study materials. And in the end, we'll make time to discuss whatever we want with questions and answers to the management. So let's start from hearing the conversation. This is from December 9th. To nullify like an embryo in a womb. 22 minutes. Let's collect some insights and thoughts and then share them afterwards with the 10. A very nice article. Yes, exciting. I just didn't understand one thing. If the embryo is in the womb of the mother, so what do they want of the embryo? It all depends on them. Like in corporality. What is desired of the embryo? Still. Correct response. What response? The embryo is an outcome of the mother. Let's see. He eats what his mother eats. Yes, but what depends on the embryo and not the mother? To bless. What does that mean? To bless for being an embryo. The embryo is aware of the fact that he is an embryo. The embryo knows he's an embryo. Yes, and he needs the only action on his behalf is to bless the fact, give a blessing over being an embryo. Yes, and what does that blessing give him? It lets him be in completion of the vessels with the Creator. So this is actually the anointment and the blessing are the same. That's the next action. Annulment will be the next action. Yes, there's a spiritual embryo and a corporeal embryo. No, we're not talking about a corporeal embryo. Okay, so we're not talking about corporeality. Exactly. He writes something very nice here. He says, well, the Creator is the Messiah. He knows what's good for me, what's bad for me. So, he wants me to feel in my state as I feel it. So everything that the Creator gives me is 100% perfect. And what I feel, it's also the right thing to feel as far as he's concerned. He sends me that. So what is it? Where is there room for resisting the state, or do you receive accept the state? Only accept the state. There's no room to resist what the Creator gives. You can resist, but you'll discover the reason for the resistance. I'm asking it turns the created being into an animate object because what the Creator gives him, well, that's perfect. That's fine. Accept it. It's best. It's the best thing. Okay. No, but he has a sensation of self, and in that sensation of self he examines himself. How much is he together with the Creator or not, together with what the Creator gives me, regardless of what he gives? Yes, that's the main thing. So agreement with the Creator about every state he puts me through, and if it's a difficult, unpleasant state, doesn't matter, pray. So there's room to pray and ask him to soften the blow a little bit the situation, or only to agree with what he gives, even if it's rough and unpleasant. Tell him, come on, the embryo in his mother's womb. Is that the group? Yes, the 10, the embryo is in the mother's womb, right? Yes. What does it mean, mother's womb? What is that? Is that the group? The 10, the embryo, the womb. What is that womb? It's a spiritual state. It's the place where the embryo feels his mother and himself. How does a 10 enter this conception? Little man, is the connection between us is the embryo. It's individual. Yes. So what do we have in common? Love. What do we have in common? What we have in common, that's the feeling. Student, where each one helps the other be in that state of impregnation. Concept. Yes, and the womb is it also a personal thing, or is it common? The womb is common to the mother and the embryo, but in the 10 I'm trying to understand the benefits here between us. If each one works individually, the embryo exists within the mother. More than that, he eats what his mother eats, and when comes the end of conception, then the mother pressures him, then he feels pressure and he comes out of the mother. I'm asking about the connection I'm trying to tie between the 10 and the idea of the conception and gestation is, what is the connection between the two? If it's individual work, what is the connection of the 10 to this process of the pregnancy? The embryo enters that conception and exists there. That's it. I'm asking, okay, I'm not in the womb right now. The womb, is that a connection to the Creator? What is the womb? The womb is a system within the Creator where the fetus grows before it is born. That's all. So the womb is a place that's shared. It's in common. Yes, of course. So common. And each one of those fetuses is an individual. The place where they are in the womb. That's the place that all these individuals share. Probably. So there needs to be a true state of between them. There. And the birth is one thing. That happens for all of them. The birth is this outcome for everyone. The outcome of being born. Each one is his own birth, his own time. Yes. What's next? Why doesn't it happen for the 10? Well, like in corporality, the embryo emerges, the baby emerges whole. Why is it that in spirituality, it's not the entire 10 emerging together all at once? We're not connected to that degree to each other, clearly. But how could one person emerge from a 10-1 individual if he's not connected to the others? How does he emerge? How could it be men in the beginning of the conception? He eats what his mother eats, and so forth until he comes to the end of development. Yeah, and then he can emerge from the womb into the air of the world. So I'm asking, if you say that the embryo is not an individual, it's a 10. No. Why? No. So where is the 10 in this process? The womb is the Creator. The womb is inside the Creator. A person develops in that environment. So where is the 10 here? What is the place of the 10 in a person's emergence into spirituality? It's not there. Not there. No, an embryo is born. It was an embryo. Now it's born. That's all individual. And an individual. One individual is born. Yes. And their other friends, one of them. They're just supporting powers. Friends. So why do you need them? What do you need them for? If it's individual, each one enters his own process of gestation. You can take an example from them. An example for how to be a null before the mother. So they're just an example. I don't know how else at this stage, in that stage he receives from them an example, support. Without their support, but it's an external strengthening. And why specifically from them? Only from them, from his permanent 10. Yes, they are his group. What is there in the example that a friend from that group gives me that I can't receive from a different friend, from a different group? You have to find someone to strengthen. Okay, so it follows that each one undergoes a process. Tomorrow Mashi will be born in a few years, Zan, and maybe me in a few incarnations. Each one has his own pace and there's no connection. Once one is born, there is a connection, but that's how it is. What does he need from his friends after being born? From the friends he needs help. In what? That they will help him be born. But how do they help him? Only through example. Examples, prayer, get mamas. Yes, effort. And he himself cannot do this. He doesn't get it from the Creator. If he annulled himself before the Creator, doesn't he eats what his mother eats? He won't receive from the Creator. The Creator seemingly poses disturbance, meaning the Creator disturbs the embryo in developing to being born, and the friends act against the Creator, helping the person overcome the Creator's disruptions. Yes, so it turns out that I can convince myself that it's worthwhile for me, for that duty will be born, will be in spirituality. Why? Because then he will truly be able to help me. He'll pray for me. He'll think for me. He'll be a positive force for me. So when I invest in the friends, I'm investing in myself. I'm building in them up. I'm building up these positive forces, supports which will help me be born. Yes, it's a nice topic. Maybe it's a topic for a convention. The embryo. All of us together. Yes, I don't know if everyone together, but we'll make an attempt. Whoever emerges, emerges. In general, I understand that I need to think not about myself and how I'll emerge, but I need to think about the friends. You should be thinking about the society, so maybe I'll emerge after them. If I think just about myself, it won't turn out well. You think maybe in the upcoming convention we can, if we try to be together, then possibly yes. I have a question. This the current state of Nebi the world, and we have a convention in 2 months' time. We're constantly discussing the most relevant issue, what we should engage in, because there are many things. Every line in Abashar's words here is an issue topic for the convention. So I'm trying to understand the main story for work right now. It's the work in the temp right. That's the word. And there's work in connection between the tens receiving impressions from other tens. No, that's not on the agenda. No, not in our situation. And there's also a connection to the world 10 to feel all of us as being a single world 10. Is that also far away? Yes, still distant. Okay, and during a convention, can we engage in such topics to feel ourselves as being 110 or no? Is it just confusion? And we should engage only in our personal tense. During the Congress, we should connect between us and to the Creator. Must be He as one. So the topic of the Congress is connection between us with the Creator as one. So ultimately, it's the same well-known slogan in connection between us and the Creators. That's the thing that's most relevant for us now. It's always relevant. No, not right now. From now until the Congress. All right. So can we focus more? Zoom in a bit more. We saw many distinctions, discernments of annulments, conception, incorporation, many nuances, a lot of nuances. Is there anything more accurate? Not that I know of, and it suffices for us to engage in connection. When you say between us, that means inside of our tent. Or are we talking about the local connection of a cell region? Well, it's a connection between us. So, what is between us? So each one in his 10 and towards the Creator, each one in his 10. We are a 10. No. Yes, but I'm talking about each one in the 10 and the world. Each one in his 10. Okay, but what's the connection between the 10s? Are there different rules in a convention? And during the Congress there's more work. Okay, that's what I'm asking about. What's special there to be together in the Congress, all of us. And we have other rules where I can emerge from my 10 and be you. You can't go get out of it under any circumstance. Yes, all right, understood. And what about the topic? Will it help us if we engage with texts which explain that the laws regarding conception, what It means the embryo. We have many source texts on that. Should we learn about conception right now? Will that help us advance? There are many conditions, laws there. Will it help us? Studying about the embryo, a Basher's text about, which explained the embryo, what it means to become an embryo. If we study that, will it help us prepare for the convention? Yes, of course, but in terms of the timing, specifically now and not in 2 months from now. We'll start right now to study it. We have 2 months until the convention. A lot of texts. Yeah, I thought about introducing that, but we're now starting a Rabash series. But okay, we can refocus. What else can we do to prepare for the convention? I don't know more than you. I'm telling you, seriously, the fact that I sometimes say something, it just comes through me at the same time. What do you mean comes through me? You feel better than we feel. You can't say that. You don't. I can't see. I cannot say. But if the Congress happens in Israel, yes, then of course we'll be in it. What's the question? Of course. Of course you'll give lessons. We'll sit and connect with everyone together. But we're asking also from the perspective of the organization and the content what lessons exactly we should have what versus to bring a cultural evening what to do in the meal will put us in the atmosphere that has to do with the organizers. Yes, I hear we're looking for this theme that will envelop everything. I hear it's the connection between us from the 10 to the creator. Rob says yes. I think this is the biggest thing. Yes, and central theme, because what else do you have out of that? I'll tell you what I feel that might pose an interruption. The connection between us and the creator is such a chewed up topic already. It's something we always talk about it. We need to find something new. A conception. Ooh, there's something new here. Connection between the tens. Ooh, that's new. Looking for some innovation to play around with, and so connection to the creator. Yes, every morning we talk about connection to the creator. Every time we gather, we talk about connecting with the creator. It's like saying love you friend as yourself. Abash took that and wrote many articles about it, focusing us on how to reach that. So, these details that he gives there regarding how to reach it, the path, annulment, equality in the group, make yourself love by yourself a friend, there are many discernments. And so here we're also asking connection to the creator. That's our overarching goal that we always think about. We're trying to be a bit more precise. We thought maybe conception of this kind of connection, a different kind, some innovation, something I'm not overruling of course. Connection between us and the creator. That's the topic you can't escape that, but alright, I understand. I don't understand what else you want. What could be more than us as a 10? Connecting between us in a way that each one feels the entire 10, and that entire 10 is adhering internally to the creator. That's all. There's no more detailing to be done. We have to eat what the mother eats. Thank you very much. All the best. I wanted to say on behalf of the world, thank you to the friends bringing the tour to us from the Let's Embrace Them, support them, hug them, and now in workshop let's talk about what we heard in this discussion. What touched our hearts most. So discuss in the workshop what we heard in this talk and what touched our hearts most. We heard that from the friends a person receives an example. They help him through example and prayer and effort. We also heard that the creator disturbs the friend and the friends help one against the creator to be born. And in the end he said what could be more that we as a 10 connected between us in a way that each one feels the entire 10, and that entire 10 adheres to the internality of the creator. The process of conception, which is the process of entering spirituality that we want to perhaps engage in as we approach the convention, to feel that decree how the womb, which is the creator, how we start developing there, and how the 10 connect to that process, and how the embryo is then how it emerges, perhaps this whole process. Well, I don't know what comes next, but maybe it's a direction we can think about with respect to the convention. The topic of the Congress, what Ori says, is connection between us to the creator. I think it's very important that he defined the topic. I hope it'll stay, or it could change again, but doesn't matter. What matters is that it appeared through a ray that we waited for it. At least I waited. That well they offered Rav various topics, and we also offered friends from the management too, but ultimately this kind of came out of Rav, so we should go with that. As soon as the October convention ended, I've been hearing about this from Love, this topic of one man in one heart, so I think it will remain, and this is what I wrote during a convention. We need to connect together and to the Creator as one. That is the most relevant topic for us. From now and up to the convention, and what could be more than connecting as a 10 together with this entire 10, connecting to the internality of the Creator. And regarding the issue of conception, I wrote this: each one has his own birth and his own time of birth. So there's no such thing where a 10 is born together, but rather, it's like that. There was a bit there that Raf said that all of a sudden, a topic comes out of him at the moment. I like, he said before, one man, one heart, or connection in the 10. It's different topics that Rob talked about, and I don't know, to me it feels we need to be kind of flexible, that we went through all these scrutinies of topics for the Congress, and it wasn't clear what will be the direction, and now it requires the flexibility from us to go in any direction together with Robin, the management, that this is how we truly want to find the best direction for us for this Congress. You have rights to us first of all. Conception is individual, and what we share together is the feeling. Yes, so I also remember the first time I heard this talk, I really liked this definition where the Creator is interrupting the childbirth and the friends help against the Creator. When we integrate, when we incorporate together in the 10, it's all planned, such that well only through that we can be born, but each one is indeed born individually, but it's only with the help of the friends. You receive, he said, you receive an example, external reinforcement from the friend's prayer, and so on. And yes, the topic is what we heard: connection between us in the 10. He said several times that it's not yet on the agenda to connect between the 10s. It was talked about a little before, but now I've said that this is what we need: connection between us in the 10 to the, and in the convention. We're together, supporting each other in that. That's the main thing, is the mutual work between us, where we need to support each other, pray for each other, help each other, help each one be born in spirituality. It's all the work in the 10th person has to come and pray and hear and do his work. And so with each of the members of the TAN, that's it. That's the work, to always work towards each other, to connect between us and with the Creator. I forgot another very important matter. I was very impressed by the friends by their desire to clarify things for the whole world clean. I felt their efforts, their investment. It's really what we need. I suppose from that first talk, we heard exactly how to search in the friends, to look for how they want to bestow with all their might, and then you can annul before them, and I received a lot of power from that. There was the issue of needing innovation, so talking about how the connection between us, well, we talk about that every morning lesson, and we need some innovation. So let's think about how we can be renewed from within, so that this connection that we talk about every morning lesson will actually happen, and then that'll be the innovation towards the convention, that it'll actually happen this time. There's another thing regarding the embryo. I've said in the beginning, the friends asked what depends on the embryo, and I've said to bless the fact that he's an embryo, and the next operation then it's a norm. Perhaps we truly need to continue with this issue of the embryo to scrutinise it, but between us truly. Yes, we talked about examples and how we need to help each other by example. Okay, friends, we'll move forward. Some central things that I summarised from this talk, which I think we should hear many times, is that what depends on the embryo is to bless for being an embryo. That blessing gives him a completion of the vessels with the Creator. That we have to examine ourselves. How much are we with the Creator or not? That the 10 can help the embryo ascend. From them, you can receive the example, support, or who they are, your group. We heard that from now until the Congress, we have to connect between us and to the Creator as one. And we also heard that as a 10 we connect between us in such a way that each one feels the entire 10, and the whole 10 adheres to the internality of the Creator, and that is all. So from this conversation basically came the theme for our Congress. The theme is connecting to the 10, adhering to the Creator, and that puts us in the next phase of preparation. We've concluded the finding the theme for the Congress, and we're talking about the implementation, connecting between us and the 10, adhering to the Creator. We want to take this direction and detail it into practice in the 10 in everyone's private, personal 10. What we'd like to do now is to discuss in our 10s to check what more we can add towards the upcoming convention, and adding it that's not necessarily actions. It can be inner intention or it can be actions. Each 10 will decide. We divided it into several subtopics, and we'll give a few minutes to each such subtopic, and we want to scrutinize what more we can add towards the upcoming convention. It could be tomorrow, an hour from now, or starting right now, because the convention is a certain way point that we can refer to see us use reference to see if we advance in the 10. So let's talk in the 10 about what we can add in terms of our participation in all our actions. Herein we have lessons, conventions, various gatherings, meals. So what and how can we add in how we participate, and not necessarily actions, maybe in the way in which we participate. In what can we as a 10 add with respect to participation in all the activities, meals, lessons and such. 3 minutes, please. Okay, I think we have a lot to add as a 10. I'll also say that if we say it's not quantitative, then it's qualitative. How do I relate to each action we make? How serious that relationship is, and how much I prepare myself for that activity. We can improve in terms of getting to the lesson on time, prepare better for the lessons. Yes, also maybe the topic of incorporation, and I would really emphasize that. That's so that we'll exercise many times, maybe even in our Zoom meetings. I think we should really emphasize that we have to make this shape of the piston that Rob explained today, that I think that really determines everything, because if we can't become incorporated, it all kind of stays much more external, the entire work, and also in practice too. To take some action if there is an option to do some activity in our responsibility. So to do that in terms of preparation for the lesson or for the meal, and we as a focus group should also continue with that, to participate and to pray for their friends, to be concerned about the friends, making sure that they can all participate, that they're all prepared, preparing for the Congress, to prepare ourselves every moment. Yes, all of these activities in the end give us the support and the importance. We should relate to them as something necessary. It's not that it says, there's a meal now so we come, but we need the meal to connect more between us, to elevate ourselves, to give gratitude to the Creator, so that these things will already be needed for us from within, because preparation is very important. We talked less about the meals, so maybe we can discuss the meals, but also the lessons, every action, every activity we always want to prepare for. Yes, after we understood that we're going to strengthen our connection in the 10 and with the Creator, we talked about attendance, about meals, about unity days and congresses. Now we're going to move to the next part, where we ask ourselves, how do we strengthen our connection with the sources, with Rabasham? We know we've entered a special time where we hear Rabash quite a lot, and how he explains. For some people it's easier, for some people it's more complicated, for some it's more fascinating, and there's many views on this, and many state that the 10 goes through as a result of this new style of learning. And we're asking ourselves, how do we now strengthen the connection with the sources? And this is our question. Let's give it 3 minutes. I think strengthening the connection to the sources means to simply read them and hear from personal experience. I can say that there is a value to quantity and how much you read. If you read, and fine, if you read 20 excerpts, it'll work on you more, and that's how it works. You read more and more and more. You need to simply drown in it, just to engage in it, delve into it. Yes. First of all, yes, it's according to the topic. We will now have there will be some excerpts that friends will prepare, so we should get into it. In general, the articles of Rabash, that's where there's all the explanation. Like Ari spoke about it today, It's all in the articles of Rabash. What does it mean to connect between us? Actually, which is first of all to become incorporated and nullified. And in the Zoom meetings, we should also read some of the Robish articles about this. Regarding, I think I heard that the sources, Thatists report, are our connection to them. That's our connection to the Kabbalists, the sages, connection to the Creator. They wrote everything down for us. We just need to wash ourselves with it constantly, incorporated in it. Yes, this guidance that they give us, the Kabbalists, this. Their intention when they wrote the articles, all of that is a spiritual system working on us, and it was written exactly for us. We're not going to some other sources. It's the closest sources we have. Brash articles we've read before, and we should read again now from a degree, all worldly, to see how we can get closer to them. I agree with Leon that it's not just about quality, but also quantity. When it comes to the sources, we need to wash ourselves with the source texts all the time. Sometimes I get captivated by, like one excerpt, and I can read it dozens of times throughout the day. You keep being inspired by it, and you simply are incorporated in the couple, the sources. It's something special. Yes, about the focus, I would say. Okay, friends, we are continuing our special scrutiny together, and we want to go into another layer of it. As we talked about the sources and the teachers, we now want to talk about our connection with Rav. How do we, during this time that we are in now, how do we specifically strengthen our connection with the Upper One? We are all results of hearing him, and he touched our hearts, and that's why we're all sitting here. We want to see how, during the time we have until the Congress and in every moment in life, how do we manage to strengthen our connection with him? So, we have 3 minutes for that as well. I'm still very inspired by the meeting of that we prepared with Sasha, which was regarding love's presence in our 10. In my opinion, it's an inseparable part of the 10. Love is inside every 10, and it's something we need to work with. It is thing. We mustn't see ourselves and our 10 as something that's independent. We're within a society, and in everything that love teaches us. So alongside our efforts to connect together in the 10 and our prayer to the Creator, love needs to be in that as well, and we need to reinforce that connection, the connection in the 10 with love as part of our inner work. Yeah, I get a really powerful example, actually, from friends who are doing these conversations with Rob, and how they are really adhering to Rob with all the suggestions and different details. They always go with what Rob says, really cling to that in a wonderful way. I'm really inspired from that. So I think this is exactly the direction that we need to communicate to each other in the tent. Also how much we adhere to Rob, and always be in joy from any contact, anything we see in the recordings from Rob, which is really a huge thing. Approach to do what else does as accurately as possible, to look for his advice in the lesson and to apply that advice immediately. So love is in each one of the friends. He speaks to each of the friends, each one throughout the years of cooperation and the work in spirituality. Love is simply living inside us. We constantly hear him. We always live with this method he gave us. So we need to just reinforce it and incorporate it. Yes, rather than the Kabbalist is the sources of the abundance that comes to us. We need to know how to work with that. Their words. We're going forward, France, to the last discernment where we need reinforcement. The spirit of love in our 10, all these lofty concepts, we discussed the sources of all those ways to enter into our heart, and the device by which I can get into my heart. That's you, my friends, in the tent. So how do we from now and until the convention reinforce the warmth, the love, the closeness, the bond between us in the 10? 3 minutes to discuss that. Good luck. Yes, I think that in our 10 actually, there's a lot of concern for the friends. We also talk about the states, difficult states that friends go through, and we try to somehow help them be more connected more in the lessons. But maybe we should also extend this relation to any friend. Doesn't matter what states you're going through. We can always add in high spirits, as we call it, and to give more importance, and every friend is in a distress in the sense that he lacks greatness of the goal, and high spirits. And that's what we can give as a 10 to everyone. I think we need to shift our focus from concern about corporeal states the friends go through towards concern for the friends' spirituality. I think that's something we need to improve in very much. You have right to pray together more. Warmth comes from opening the heart. We have to work more on opening the hearts and building the more inner connection between us, more spiritual, and to know how to transform all of that. All the corporeal to spiritual. Yes, to constantly increase at support. Also according to Abash. Words, Abash's words. We need to show love externally. Also, it helps very much, especially when friends are in more difficult situations. It's very helpful. I was very impressed by how I was sick for a few days, and Sasha writes in the prayer some words about me staying at home to watch the lesson. It's a little thing external seemingly, but it provides some warmth, so don't spare that. In spirituality, only spirituality, I don't think it's true we will operate on many levels. I remember I was very much impressed, brought to us when he was sick. These external things seemingly completely external, but it's very helpful. As it says in the multitude of people is the King's glory. All right, friends, so we would like to continue speaking. The General Assembly would like very much to hear. So let's start chewing on the issue, the topic of the Congress. Connecting in the 10, adhering to the Creator. A person needs to get up in the morning, and that's what he should be saying. That's our spirit now in the upcoming period, and we need to hold on to the concepts, the principles of the 10 very powerfully, and from that adhere to the Creator that will accompany us as we prepare for the convention now and throughout our lives, and through that we receive many more discernments. Everything says everything the Kabbalists describe. It's this. So let's focus on the connection between us, from the connection between us to a connection to the Creator. So, we'd like to talk about what you heard in the circles. Anything new that came up in the 10. If there's some nice idea that came up through the connection between you, if it can be suitable for other 10s maybe who may be inspired by that, and for all of us to be inspired by each other right now. So please, if you have anything to share, raise a hand, a question mark, and we'll incorporate together, please. Yes, we said that we really have to add into our lessons and present and attendance in our meetings, and to add warmth and concern in the tent and read together. Realize Rav's advice gives inspiration about the greatness of the Rav, and also hear during the day the recordings of Rabash, our friends, other tents that we share with everyone we talked about in the world perhaps. Yes, leave on. Like we heard in the conversation, one of the friends asks what's the innovation, because our goal is always to connect in the tenant to the Creator, the internality of the Creator. So this is also always the question, what's new? What can we innovate? And we also talked about how do we prepare for the Congress. First of all, we help each other, and to really enter this topic to feel it, and we said that we have to learn actually articles, not excerpts, because in the articles of Rashi takes you through a certain journey that stays in you. In the excerpts it's very difficult to get there, so these are just recommendations. All these frameworks, everyone knows about it. We talked about it. The best preparation, the most beneficial preparation is such where the 10 works on warming up the connections between the friends in the 10. We're working on that warmth. Each one knows his 10 tries very hard to perform actions that increase that warmth, and that is measurable from today to tomorrow. Yes, to continue the friends. There was a lot about how to support, and one of the things was really rash. We also talked a lot about how can we talk about it, and how to find ways as preparation to really be in the writings. And like we see how PD5 for instance went to 2 days ago or 3 days, for they talked about it yesterday, and it really gives a lot of inspiration that will reach that as well. And let's hear from the groups in the for leisure, please. For us it's a holiday today because a friend came here from another group, and thanks to him we came together 10 friends in rear as a 10, and when we sat together and discussed with regards to the Congress preparation, there's always this question that we have representatives of various tents Here we're sitting together physically as a single 10, and in the topic of the Congress is to connect to the 10 and adhere to the Creator. But in the world clay, there are many virtual 10s that are connecting. So there's this matter of physical T, virtual T, and what's the place of that in everyone's preparation. Also, friends, I have a practical advice that every friend from the Israeli will go and meet the worldly friends. You won't believe how much love you will get, and greatness, and all that light I pass on to my and I'm certain that there will be a change for the better towards the Congress with the Creator's help. Please, we have a nice assembly there as well. Clear World Clay, their friends, were so happy to see everyone. We have friends who came from various areas of Kazakhstan and Russia, and practical advice is that we invited everyone to be hosted, and about 40 people registered. That's still half of them. We're waiting for the rest to come, and the practical advice we'd like to share with you is invite guests and also become guests. Good morning, friends. We'd like to talk about the importance of our house. Impossible to put into words how much he did to elevate the world to the Creator. And every morning we hear from him some very serious questions from which we can derive very deep conclusions. And it's important not just to pray for him and thank him, but to try to actually do what he's always been trying to convey to us. Dear friends, we also had a workshop, and we clarified that maybe it's not always possible to add in terms of quantity, because we all as a 10 join all the 2 lessons a day and all the meetings. But we can always add in unity, and that's our love of friends. Right now part of us are sitting together physically, some virtually. Sometimes we can gather, sometimes not, but hopefully all of us can come to, or at least send representatives from our 10 friends and beloved friends. The words don't convey as much as our feelings do, what we feel throughout these situations when we connect together. And so, everything that we talk about, everything that we feel, everything that we intend, incorporate it into our state, and feel the Creator between us. Thank you, Nekali. Good day, everyone, dear friends. We are meeting together with 10 from KF. Too many long time. We haven't seen each other, but from the first days, from the first minutes of our conversation, that field of love, that field of mutuality, that we know each other for a long time. This awakening from the words that we heard from the friends, and I think that thanks to these meetings, these opportunities to gather to pass on this feeling of love to each other, love for the world, cleave the sources, the Kabbalists. This is what advances us to the understanding of the essence of the Congress, more and more internal. Thank you. Very powerful questions we had in the workshop, and we discussed them, and Bashan, Balasam are like a part of the family. We hear them more than we hear our family members. So what more can we add to this? It's a challenge, but what was born in us? That was in the last question, where we discussed what else. What more? Many of the friends probably have a cat at home. Do you owe the cat anything? Does the cat owe you anything? Now, with respect to how I regard the friend, I do owe him. When he's sated, when he feels well, I pleased when he gets his food, his gifts, when he comes to the lesson. Am I happy with that? Does it satisfy me? Yes, that's happiness. That's crossing the barrier. French, we agreed that we should do whatever needed to strengthen the 10 and also all the various 10s, like the various countries, like the French cleave for us, and this way we'll warm up everything towards the Congress. Thank you, friends. We have many more friends in many groups that wish to speak, but we're short on time, so let's advance. If you have good ideas that were shared in the 10 and you want to share with the other 10, send it to us in Board World. And now we want to advance to the next stage, building spiritual society. We want to report about advancement in dissemination and here in our building. Please, hello friends, a moment before I go into the update. First of all, it was a pleasure to see the friends in the world sharing how they see this whole time until the Congress and generally the expectation from the Congress. Just to update, we already have 220 friends from around the world who are already registered to come to the Congress here in February, and dozens more from Turkey, from Kazakhstan, South America, and others who are waiting for visas to buy their tickets and come. So there's going to be something really big and groundbreaking in February. So let's appreciate that and feel the status that we're coming to. So a little bit of an update about the Visitor Centre project, how we're advancing in that. So first of all, we are in a stage where, especially following all the scrutinies we had together with the friends, the society, in terms of understanding the areas we want to touch upon. So we had to rethink the project in general, understand in great detail how do we realise it in a precise manner. And now we're in a state where the professional team is beginning to form, built from our friends as well as professionals. People from the leading experts in this area from Israel. We recruited an engineering manager that will help us take all the ideas in terms of construction and put them into practice. In terms of content, we started a process that is led by old Denny Ware. He started recruiting AI creators and editors. Duty corrects me, and an AI army that will go and start to create all of these ideas that are related to what we call the Visitor Centre and begin to generate it as one artistic piece. And now this is something to understand. There is no such Visitor Centre in the world. Not exactly like that. This is a groundbreaking project in every sense. Also in terms of the designers, we starting to look at how to solve each one of the rooms physically and also technologically. We are looking into the various technologies we need to use to achieve this experiential sensory experience for people. Now, one of the main challenges we have in this project is to see how each space that we touch, each room, how do we also keep it as a multi-purpose space so that it serves not just the visitor centre, but first and foremost our ongoing social life here, and in addition to that also give an answer to the visitor centre. Clear example is the meals area outside, which serves us on a weekly basis and of course in our big congresses, and that's going to be a core space for the visitor centre. So what we're looking into all the time is how can we do this in a minimum time, transition that so we can transition from a visitor centre state to an ongoing state, and that we can kind of do it back and forth. We try to do that with all the spaces. Also with respect to the small dining room, we're looking at how to make it a multi-purposed area. So in short, all of the integration of the visitor centre into our life, we're doing it in such a way where it's an additional product that we have that's happening in the building while allowing everything else to take place as well and not stopping anything. And that's why there's constant complexity here, how to do this correctly and in an adaptive way. Another thing we started examining and made it a goal is to see how the visitor centre will allow us to integrate various content themes that are based on content that we have created today and are creating. And this is very challenging because on the one hand the visitor centre has some sort of a route, some sort of a designated areas and spaces. But in addition to that, we want to see how each space can also be multipurpose in terms of different content experiences. So we're very meticulous on that the content will not fixate us on what we do with the space, but that we can use different program and content for each of the spaces. Another thing that's happening, which is a big milestone in this project and generally in our organisation, we completed the submission of asking for permission for all of the construction we need to do. Yes, we need to receive permission, but this is a big thing because this also shows that we as an organisation is growing. We're expanding our building, expanding our facilities, and what we now did. Let's say if we want to do more in the future, these permissions allow us to go higher in terms of the building to do many more things in the future. And in general, we should understand that our building is a place where light comes out. I don't think the creator could have given us a better place than this, because there's really no limit to what we can get out of this. It's all a question of our willingness and preparedness to make it happen. And the building does allow it. Another thing that we started looking at, and we understand that we have to get into, is the whole topic of marketing of the visitor center and generally the marketing of our association in Israel. So the more we advance it with the project, the more we understand that we have to market this project in the best possible way that will first and foremost aim for the Israeli audiences here. But we're also looking at it from a universal perspective. It has to know how to touch every person in the world. And also we made it a goal that the visitor center has to legitimize our organization here in Israel. It needs to be like a good calling card where if you want to know what Kabbalah is about, just come get an impression and feel, and you can see who are the people who are running it, and so on, what are the kinds of people that are there. Now, a big question that's on the agenda is, what is the first thing we offer to a person as soon as the visitor center route ends? So first of all, anyone who has ideas and thoughts, send them to vcob.co.il. Again, vcob.co.il. And we realize that we don't have a goal of creating just an hour and a half experience where he ends it with a wow, but that's it, says goodbye. We want him in the end that the impression will be so powerful that right away the next stage will be waiting. How does he take this impression and keeps going with it and developing forward, and of course coming in contact with us. So this point of what we offer right after is very relevant, and that's on the agenda. And the last thing I wanted to update about is the magnitude of the project. On the one hand, it's called a visitors center. It's like this cloud that is somewhere, but at the same time it's a revolutionary project, because again we are working with Denny, who established such centers around the world at very big scales, starting from Disney and all the way to, like for instance, the World Cup that he's going to work on. So we have to understand that everything he did today until today, and what he was invited to do until today, he says that definitely what we're trying to do has never been done anywhere in the world, and we generally are going to take our entire method, the principles that are very fundamental and changing the fundamentals that change our lives every day, and see how we can create this emotional experiential capsule of that for the person. Duty will update more on the content, right? So I would like to update you on the content with respect to the visitors center, which will make the image a bit more clear from the onset. So, as I said, it's one of our main projects in the upcoming period. Why? Because it allows for an initial, experiential meeting with all the ideas that we hear about, we study, test and faith about, reason, and we want to convey to people who aren't studying, especially here in Israel. We want to awaken, to give them small touches to awaken the point in the heart that's hidden within. So as we know, it's an experiential physical visitors center. It's not a lecture, not a lesson. A person enters a certain track, certain path, different rooms, from one room to another, and it speaks to him about what he feels right now. So the concept, we call it the terminal of thoughts, like a terminal in an airport, a place where you stop and rest. You have a chance to look at things a little differently, right? When a person is traveling between different countries, he has a place to stop for a second and observe, and so many thoughts are going through my head, and I have some time to stop and introspect. Let's say the idea is not to give answers, not to fill a person up with many messages, but rather to engage a process where something in his perception begins to shift, where he goes, I didn't think about it that way before. The experience is about an hour and 15 minutes on average. Groups of 20, groups of 25 visitors every circuit. Then they split into different tracks, and they go through the same thing into different parallel tracks. And again, this is meant for the wider public. The visitor advances from room to room, but the entire track is actually one journey. So throughout the journey, two characters accompany him, Nadav and Sema. 2.0. Nadav is the everyman. The person identifies with him. He deals with regular day-to-day issues like all of us. And Sema is the AI assistant that started like an AI assistant. Everyone uses those AI agents, chatbots, and suddenly she pops up in his living room, and the conversations between them, the focus on the tension between how we think and how we actually act. So in those transitions between room to room, there will be several characters representing different audiences, people who are like me, visiting right now, and they're on the track with me, so they're going from room to room with me, but they're virtual characters which reflect to me all the cynicism I have, all the doubts I have. Who needs this? You saw what they explained there. Where are we being taken here? All these thoughts, which will assist the visitor and also in digesting the messages he received, also make the whole thing lighter and more humorous, and also to help him identify more with what he's going through, meaning that it's fine to feel the way he does. What else? Let's go over the slides. We have some slides we prepared. There we go. So, I'll go over the rooms shortly as the visitor experiences them. Again, it's one continuous journey where each stage relies on the previous and deepens in the next stage. So the first one. Here the journey begins. The AI Semmer tells the person that he's a robot. At 7 he drinks his coffee. 7-bit he watches the news, then he goes to work. It's all pattern, it's all routine, and Adav tries to defend himself. No, I have free choice, I choose, I feel. But Semmer shows him that it's to the contrary, even your feelings are chemistry, it's electricity in the brain. And she gives him scientific proof regarding how programmed a creature he is. And here Nadav begins to understand. Wait, I do act without pausing, without thinking consciously. In the second room, those are the questions in the heart. That's about that where the pace changes. Now it's dark. The room is darkened. You have headphones. Each one holds a tablet showing little images of life. A child shouts to his father who is busy with his phone, not listening, and various light moments in life where we're unaware, and then the visitor himself goes through questions on the tablet. Do you have any true friends? Are you ready to fix mistakes you made in your life? Did you reach the apex of your life? And so on. Questions about who am I? Each one answers anonymously. But ultimately, in the end, you see, everyone's answers anonymous, of course. And then the visitor begins to understand that he's not alone with those questions. It's the human condition. Then we go to the next room, which is the courthouse for the ego. The person goes into a courthouse, into a court, and then he visits he sees his ego, our entire deliberations and arguments, the ego against humanity. And who is just? Who's right? The ego or the person? We introduce that inner struggle we have within us, showing it externally. The fourth room, there it's about the illusion of free choice, and here we focus even more on the question, to what extent are we truly free to choose? And for us it's clear we're an outcome of the influence of the environment, so a person can understand that here in this room, and where we have this theatre, we have a bit of theatre, puppets, where we see how we're actually puppets, marionettes, and we begin to identify our patterns of thought, patterns of reaction, and we see how we can predict human behaviour going forward. We see that we can predict how we'll behave as people, individuals, as a human society. It's all known in advance. So where is our choice? Where is my freedom if everything is one big algorithm? That's the question a person emerges within the following rooms. I won't go in depth, but I'll say that 5, 6, and 7, the last rooms in the journey, they engage with our perception of reality, discovering the us versus the me, and where we felt together in humanity. So that's still under construction, in execution and everything. So the concept is clear, but it's not yet. It's still under construction, not there yet. But when a person emerges from there's something will be crack in his perception of reality. He'll understand this is how I perceived reality thus far, and I understand now that I can perceive it in a much broader way. So in room number 6 we learn about how I am a part of a greater system, an integral system. I'm not just afloat here by myself doing whatever I like. Everything is interconnected. And in the end we have a very exciting, very emotional room, very quiet actually, which allows us to reflect on our moments in life as individuals, as a society, everything that we go through together here, like after war, for example. Moments where we feel solidarity, like after the October 7th, things that we went through in our history, shared history that we have, and, of course, things that happened globally that we went through in history.